You're listening to the Morphology Podcast. Thanks for tuning in to the Morphology Podcast, aka Murph here to share interviews about biking experiences from cyclists who have pedaled to places all over. Each week, we will get to know new people and explore new destinations to ride your bike. As you listen to these adventures, you may wonder, why haven't I done that yet? On the show this week, I took some time to talk to the new Interim ride director for Ride the Rockies. Bill Plock is a Colorado native and longtime cyclist who's pretty pumped to take Ride the Rockies to the next level. Ride the Rockies is a multi-day challenging event in Colorado that has been going on for 25 years. With 5 Continental Divide crossings and over 26,000 feet of climb. This year, the ride takes you and your bike through some epic mountain passes that may make your legs burn from all that climbing, but will provide some great photo ops. You can still get registered or learn more about the event at ridetherockies.com. So here's my interview with Bill. Enjoy. All right, well, on the show today, we have Bill Plock. How are you, Bill?
I'm awesome.
Good. I'm really good. I heard some amazing news, and we had to get you on the podcast to talk about it, that you are now the interim Ride the Rockies ride director.
Oh, I thought you heard about my daughter going to Arizona for school. Oh, there's that other news. Okay, yeah, I am the Ride the Rockies ride director. Yes, that is some news.
Yes, well, congratulations on your daughter going to Arizona. Is it ASU?
Yeah, Arizona, University of Arizona.
Oh, very
Tucson.
Good. Okay, that's even
so I can
better.
go ride Mount Lemmon, right?
Yeah, you can. Yeah. I don't know if that's good or bad. That's quite a mountain to climb.
Yeah, I've done it. Have you?
No, I haven't. I have plenty of friends that tell me how amazing. There's something at the top of Mount Lemmon, like a cookie or a piece of pizza, that is the reward you get for climbing for hours and hours and hours. So I don't know.
That's true. It is up there.
Yeah.
Not that we're talking about Mount Lemmon today, but I got to say it's pretty cool because you start with a bunch of big cactus, the sorrows or whatever they call those. And then as you go up, you climb into the regular like pine tree forest. It's like 6 different zones of environment. It's pretty cool.
Oh, wow. And I'm guessing it's a white knuckle pedal down, or coast down, I should say.
It's not terrible. I mean, it's not steep. It's not like a few rides a few mountain passes we might be talking about here in a few minutes.
Yeah.
It's not too bad. It's pretty decent grade, actually.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I know we're going to get into riding mountains because we are here to talk about Ride the Rockies and your position and what the bike ride's all about. But first, let's talk about Bill Plock. So where do you live, and what's cycling like there?
So I live in a town called Arvada, which is a suburb of Denver. For those not familiar, I'm kind of between Boulder and Denver, sort of northwest of town and northwest of downtown Denver, about 8 miles, but just a metro area. And then I grew up in Golden, which is a little bit further west. And Golden resides. Actually, Golden is in town this year for Ride the Rockies, but that's where I grew up.
Yeah.
Yep. And I've been riding bikes for a long time, and I kind of started as a mountain biker, frankly, and I realized I don't love technical bouncy rides. I just like getting on the road, and I've done a ton of road cycling in the last 20 years.
Awesome. And when you say road cycling, are you on a bike with skinny tires, or are you on an adventure bike, or what kind of biking do you do as far as road biking?
I think that's a funny question, because if we've been talking 10 years ago, there wouldn't even be a question, right?
Yeah, you're right.
There's all these different kinds of bikes now. There's gravel bike, road bike,
yeah,
adventure bike, dry bike, all this stuff. It's a road bike with skinny tires. It's just a traditional. I have rim brakes. It makes me feel old now, but I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm riding a Trek Madone 2012 that I just revamped because I had my really nice Cervelo R5 stolen last fall.
Oh man.
Yeah, that's okay. I kind of feel like El Camino. I got my crusty old Madone. I completely rebuilt it. Runs really well, and it looks kind of a little bit nostalgic, I guess. And ride zip 404 wheels on it, so it looks kind of badass. And it's a good bike.
That's awesome. And what a bummer to have a bike stolen. It's like the worst feeling I had my fat bike stolen, and it's just like such a helpless feeling of what? Why?
Yeah, and it was a special edition on top of it,
Oh,
custom made. I don't know. It's worth more than I care to share,
yeah.
but yeah, it was pretty disappointing, but that's the way it goes.
Yeah, it's like nothing you can do about it now. But okay, so this revamped bike that you mentioned, I know that you've been on at least one adventure recently, because I followed you when you did a Key West trip. But can you tell us about some adventures that you do, maybe in Colorado or outside of Colorado?
Oh man, that's a long list. I mean, I would say in Colorado, all kinds of different things. Whether it's a triple bypass, which is a famous ride from Golden up to Vail,
Mm-hmm.
or actually Evergreen up to Vail. It's 120 miles and 12,000 feet of climbing. I've done big rides on my own all the way from Arvada up over Trail Ridge to Winter Park, where I have a condo that's 155 miles. I'd say actually my best adventure ever in Colorado in terms of epicness was just 2 years ago now, almost 2 years ago. Oh no, I'm sorry, last year.
Mm-hmm.
Some friends and I, we took our gravel bikes, a different kind of bike with a wider tire, and we rode up from Longmont, which is on the Front Range, through Boulder, up into Ward, and then up on the Peak to Peak Highway, which is basically before you get to the Continental Divide. And then we rode up a dirt road over Rollins Pass, which is it goes over the top of a railroad tunnel that connects the Front Range with Grand County, which is where Winter Park, Grand Lake, and all that. So it's an old railroad bed that goes up almost 12,000 feet, and it's all dirt and bouncy. And we spent about 13 hours on our bike.
Oh, wow.
And then I got to my condo in Winter Park. My plan was to ride my road bike home through major, basic highways that I've done that. It's about 75 miles. But I was so tired.
Yeah.
I was really tired. And it was Father's Day. And I thought, oh my gosh, because my daughter wanted to take me to dinner and I had to get home. And I could have stayed Sunday night and just ridden home Monday and kind of had some food and whatever. But so I thought to myself, how am I going to get home? And all of a sudden the bell went off in my head. And I got on an Amtrak train in Winter Park and rode it to Denver. And then I took the light rail to my house in Arvada.
Oh, nice. Home. Perfect. Yeah, that's
It
awesome.
was like the best adventure ever.
Back in 2020, the fall of 2020, I went with a group and we did the San Juan Hut trip. So we biked from Telluride, Colorado, through San Juan Mountains, and then ended up in Moab, Utah. And when you talk about dirt roads and single track, oh my gosh, that's probably my most epic adventure that I will never, ever, ever repeat, because I am also similar to what you said in that the bouncing around and the feeling of, potentially falling off a cliff at any moment is just not my idea of fun anymore.
Yeah, that sounds like a great adventure. I'd like to see that route. I'm curious what you did exactly. I know that area, but I'm not sure what you did exactly.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, okay, speaking of pretty cool, Ride the Rockies. And listeners have heard a little bit about Ride the Rockies because it's, in a sense, one of the partners that also do RegBri. So we've talked about it a little bit on this podcast before, and we want to talk a little bit more about it. Obviously, Ride the Rockies means climbing mountains, descending mountains, and it's in Colorado. But what does it mean to be the ride director? What are you going to be doing?
It's an unpredictable route.
Yeah.
I mean, we know the route, we know the towns. It's a lot different than I think a lot of your listeners are used to talking about RegBri, and I've done that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Iowa's got way more towns than Colorado. Like, you guys have a town every 10 miles, right?
Right.
And we don't. And so we have vast distances between municipalities and climbing mountains. So there's a lot of variables to plan on and hopefully not plan on, including, snow. I mean, snow's a reality in June in Colorado. So there could be, if everything goes well, it's obviously, which we hope, I just hope to really have fun with the riders and, meet them at the beer garden and make sure everybody's having a good time and make sure everybody's safe. And then outside of that, I think you kind of have to let the chips fall where they may. But I think that right now it's just I look at it like this. We've got however many, over 1,000, 2,000 people, they've said, we want to have a vacation with you guys. So we want to ride our bike on our vacation. We want to see the beautiful Rocky Mountains. We want to experience that Rocky Mountain high, the life, the music, the beer, the rivers, whatever you want to experience. Lead us.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how I look at it.
And like you mentioned, we were both at the announcement party, so we know, the route's been announced, and exactly where you're going to be taking the riders that register. But it's all road, right? Or is it gravel and single track as well?
No, we hope it's all road. I mean, there might be a a tiny piece here and there because of some construction that you have to buy. We have to negotiate a little bit of dirt, but no, it's all road. It's all tried and true road. And we've got Colorado State Police that provide tons of support. It's not like RideBri. RideBri is basically closed roads, and ours are not.
Okay.
So we do have that difference, but we don't have near the riders that RideBri does. So, and our distances are this year a little bit different. We have 2 100+ mile days.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, but then we have 2 really short days. So, you're going to have a chance to recover. But it's a pretty, if you aren't familiar with Colorado, it's a pretty good route in terms of you're seeing a lot of really great towns. You're seeing, kind of the true heart of our ski industry, really. You're going to be following roads that, well, as an example, there's some pretty neat history. So we're not really going to go through Vail, but you're going to be near Vail. But you'll start in Copper Mountain, which is a ski town. You'll see Copper Mountain Ski Resort, and then you're going to go up over Fremont Pass. And then what's kind of cool is the next pass you go over is Tennessee Pass. Well, at the top of Tennessee Pass, if you know where to look, and hopefully we'll be able to show everybody, there's a whole footprint of barracks that were installed in the 30s and 40s, 1930s and 40s, where the 10th Mountain Division trained.
Oh, wow.
And so the 10th Mountain Division was the famous World War II division that was primarily put in place to, invade Italy in the Alps and to make a foothold in Southern Europe. There's actually a documentary that came out. I forget exactly the name, but Chris Anthony put it on. Chris Anthony's a pretty big star in the ski industry. He's a Warren Miller star, but he's also a big cyclist. He'll probably be involved at some level, but he put a documentary out. What's cool about the 10th Mountain Division is people that started Vail came from that. Obermeyer, the ski clothing, the guy came out of the 10th Mountain Division. I mean, a lot of our ski towns are born from that group of people that came back from Italy and started the ski industry.
That is pretty cool. Yeah.
Now you get to see where they trained and lived, and then we go down into Minturn, which is a town a little bit west of Vail, and we go through, hopefully, one of the biggest engineering feats in all the United States when it comes to highways, and that's Glenwood Canyon. And it's gorgeous, and it was the last piece of I-70 finished. It's a really complicated piece of interstate. Really, really beautiful, and the plan is right now to be on the bike path that goes through the entire canyon. So that's a pretty unique experience. The ride has never done that.
Oh,
so
wow.
We're excited and nervous about that because it does get closed because of rock slides and different things, but we'll figure that out as we go.
Yeah, it's interesting that this ride every day will change based on the weather. So if you have a beautiful day, beautiful ride, it's going to be a piece of cake. But man, if you have a little bit of ice, snow, wind, all of that, that's going to be, like major changes in how the day goes.
Oh yeah, for sure. And, I think most people know, but there'll probably be people that just don't quite understand the difference. So it's all layers, right? It's arm warmers, it's leg warmers, it's
for
big
sure,
gloves. Yeah. And there's tricks, like you can put surgical gloves in your bag just in case as an extra layer on your hands. You can people even put shower caps in there and cover their head and then put their helmet on. There's little things. A lot of people will do that. They'll put something down their shirt to go down passes. You hear the famous putting their newspaper down your shirt or whatever it is. You just Like last year on the triple bypass, my friend Sasha, who's one of our ambassadors here, she put a trash bag on, just cut holes in it, put her arms through it, went down the hill.
That's awesome. And
Works like a charm.
I was going to say, she may have looked silly, but she was probably a lot warmer than most of the other riders.
Yeah. So
yeah.
It definitely has a few challenges.
Well, and so speaking of challenges, I'm looking at the map, and day 3, like you mentioned, there's a couple of days over 100 miles. So day 3 is 107 miles, but it's also over 7,000 feet of elevation gain. So that's going to be quite a day.
Yeah, it will be. I mean, the cool part about that, so we'll leave from Basalt, head down the really, really beautiful Roaring Fork Valley into Aspen. Aspen, of course, being pretty notorious. By the way, there's an asterisk there. We'll be taking the bike path for the most part. We're going to go through a little area called Woody Creek, and there's a Woody Creek Tavern, and that is where Hunter S. Thompson, his famous hangout. Just a little side note there.
Okay.
We can all pretend we're Hunter S. Thompson fans.
Yeah, bring some extra money for a little a beer stop.
Exactly, and then we'll head up Independence Pass, which is, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's the highest paved pass. It might be second, it might be third. I can't remember exactly, but we'll be going over that. It tops out at just under 12,000 feet.
Wow.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's super beautiful. I mean, and the road's it's a nice road. It's windy. They don't allow vehicles longer than 35 feet to go over it at any one time. Or at any time, I mean. And so it's a beautiful road. There's a ghost town up there. If the weather's good, it'll be just one of the most spectacular views you've ever seen.
Mm-hmm. And the reward is, once you get to the top of Independence Pass, the rest of your day is just smooth sailing downhill into, is it Salida?
Yeah. I'm gonna say yes, but I will say I don't know about smooth. It could be smooth, but there could be some good little headwinds here and there. But yes, you're right. It's basically downhill.
Yeah.
And Salida is a great town. It's actually a really cool art town. It's one of the top 10 art communities in the United States for its size, and it's got a really major. We'll be following the Arkansas River. So if you're a fly fisherman, and maybe you'll have time, I would pack a fly rod with your stuff. If you have especially if you have a really interest and you get a little compact one. Mm-hmm. But we're following some of the best fly fishing in the world.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and so, or if you have time, if you have a little boat or a little rafting trip, because we're following some of the best whitewater in the world as well. Salida's got great art district, great food. There's a great vibe because it's such it's about 7,000 feet in elevation, so it's pretty warm. It's kind of in a banana belt, and doesn't get much rain, and it's a very attractive place. So it should be a lot of fun.
So if I'm hearing you right, I would guess, just like any multi-day event, there are some people that want to go as fast as possible and get into town every day or into camp. But for the most part, are people, pedaling their way through the day, but also stopping to enjoy what they're, all the views and the towns and all the things that you mentioned, and maybe, grabbing their fishing pole out?
It depends. I'd say on this route, yes and no. I mean, I think the long days, you got to ride. You just can't dilly-dally. And especially, we have the threat of, it's a pretty good possibility you're going to hit a thunderstorm heading up over the passes. So you want to get up there as early as possible and get down. But to your point, the second day is like 30 some miles into Basalt. You'll have half a day.
Oh yeah.
There's lots of stuff we could do in Basalt that could be a lot of fun. Fly fishing, like I mentioned, or just even getting on an ATV and going on a little 4-wheel experience, hanging out, whatever. But yeah, there's some great opportunities for that. Same with Breckenridge. So after we go to Salida, we head to Breckenridge, and that's a pretty good day too. It's about 70 miles, and it's a pretty good amount of uphill. But you get to Breckenridge, spend the night. The next day is a super short day. It's a ride around Dillon Reservoir. It's about 30 some miles, really pretty. Or we have an option to go up over another pass or up to the top of a pass and back, for people that want all the miles possible. But between you and I, if it was me, I would probably take the day off in Breckenridge and just go have fun.
Yeah, there you go.
I really would, because there's just so many fun things to do there. And by then, does a trip around Dillon Reservoir, that'd be pretty. But if you really wanted to just hang out,
Yeah.
boy, there's so much to do in Breckenridge. And we met with the town yesterday, actually. One of the guys said, "Hey, what do you think? Do you think people would like to take advantage of our unbelievable mountain biking?" And Wally and I looked at each other and were like, "Oh, that would be kind of fun."
Yeah.
Like, people could rent a mountain bike and go on some of the best single track in the whole world.
Oh yeah, that's a great idea actually. Yeah, especially if you can rent it. It's not like you have to bring a second bike.
No,
Yeah.
no. So we'll look into just letting people know where they can do that. I mean, it won't be part of the ride officially, but
Right.
we'll put some links up on the website, and if people want to try something a little different,
Right. Yeah.
there it is.
So obviously, or maybe not obviously, but this will be my first Ride the Rockies that I'm attending. And so, of course, you and I both have lots and lots of experiences doing RAGBRAI. So I know exactly what to expect when I get off my bike and shower. Then there's like a big party and, or people go to bed, all that kind of thing. But is Ride the Rockies similar? Because I would think physically you would be a little bit more worn out than you would be on RAGBRAI because you're doing so much climbing. But are riders going to get into town, shower up, get their camp set up, and then maybe go check out the town? Or does everybody just go to bed?
We hope, honestly, people do check out the town.
Yeah.
I think the 2 long days are going to be, I don't think you'll see as much checking out of the town, probably.
Sure.
And which is kind of unfortunate, because Salida is a really cool town, but it might be a long day. I hope people will. I think there'll still be plenty of time for sure, whether the energy level or not. But in Salida, we're close to downtown, so it's just a walk.
Good. Yeah.
It won't be a big deal. It's not going to be quite obviously it's way smaller. So, RAGBRAI, depending on the city, rolls in with 20 to 30,000 people, and then people come to the in towns from all over the place just to party. You won't have that at Ride the Rockies. We might have some town people come out. I think each town will have a band or some music, and there'll be plenty of entertainment, if you will, but it won't be quite the party scene, I don't think.
Which, and I don't think, people who have done Ride the Rockies, because it's been going on for a very long time, it's not the expectation. So it's probably still just, I just can't imagine the views, even when you're in a town. Like, I can't wait. I'm going to have to free up some room on my phone so I have room for lots and lots of photographs.
Yeah, for sure. And you'll see, the scenery never disappoints, for sure. You're absolutely right. I think one thing it does get cooler, right? So it's not like Iowa where at 10 o'clock at night it can still be 85 degrees and really humid.
Right.
It doesn't happen. We cool off. It gets into the 40s and 50s, and so you do have that element a little bit that is cool. And but yeah, it's the towns we'll be in. Breck's a pretty fun. Breckenridge is a fun town, and at night we'll have 2 nights there. So that'll be, I think, a neat opportunity to have a couple different kinds of experiences. One is going to be at the end of a long day. One's going to be at the end of a short day. So you might feel a lot of energy for that second night. And then the last day we ride from Breckenridge clear back along I-70 essentially to Golden, Colorado. That's a pretty big day too.
So I know that registration is still open. So where can people go if they want to either learn more about Ride the Rockies or actually get registered?
It's ridetherockies.com.
Easy enough. Ridetherockies.com. Cool. Well, anything else you want to talk about, Bill, as far as Ride the Rockies?
Let me think. Oh, yeah. Of course, we have our title sponsor, Flex Central, business services provider, and we have Primal, who I think is also on top of or works with RAGBRAI. We've got Hammer, which is going to be our nutrition sponsor. Excuse me, Audi Denver, which is providing some transportation. I think those are the basics.
Cool. Well, Bill, I'm super excited for you, and congrats again on becoming the interim Ride the Rocky ride director. And I look forward to seeing Colorado in June.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing you, and it'll be fun to show you some really awesome places, and hopefully you won't say Interim next year. We'll be talking about this in a different light and have a different route.
Definitely. All right. Well, thanks for coming on the podcast.
You bet.
Well, listeners, that's it for this week. If you're interested in learning more about my bike tour across the U.S., go to my website, which is murphologypodcast.com, and click on the tab labeled Murphs Biking the U.S. Email me at murphologypodcast@gmail.com if you have a topic or the name of a cyclist you find interesting. Support my podcast at patreon.com/murphology and visit both my Facebook and Instagram pages for daily entertainment. Also, a quick shout out to Simmons Electric for sponsoring this episode. I have more great episodes in the pipeline, so I hope you continue to be a Murphology podcast listener. Thank you.